the stillness of dawn, when the world has yet to awaken, the mind of a warrior is already sharpening its edge. True intelligence is not a gift. It is a blade forged through fire, discipline, and unyielding spirit. The ancients of Bushido taught that the mind must be trained as steel is tempered, beaten by struggle, cooled by patience, and polished by wisdom. This is the essence of Hagane no Kokoro, the heart of steel, where thought becomes precision, focus becomes strength, and spirit becomes unbreakable. The samurai did not seek brilliance through birthright, but through endless refinement, day after day, battle after battle. You too can awaken that same spirit within, the power to think with clarity, act with purpose, and conquer with calm, if you are ready to rise beyond distraction and mediocrity. To forge your mind into a weapon of unmatched intelligence, then walk this path with me. Comment below, subscribe, and stand among the warriors of this growing brotherhood of discipline and focus. Together, we are forging minds that no genius can surpass. The spirit of focus, Kenshin no Seishin, is not a fleeting moment of attention. It is the essence of a warrior's mind sharpened to a single point of purpose. In the ancient way of the samurai, focus was not merely a skill, but a sacred discipline. The invisible blade that guided every strike, every breath, every heartbeat. To possess focus is to see beyond distraction, to silence the noise of doubt, and to aim your entire being toward a single target. The modern world scatters our attention like leaves in the wind, but the warrior gathers it back, forging it into the edge of determination. Focus is the still flame within the storm, unmoved, unbroken, and untouched by chaos. When the samurai drew his sword, he did not think of 1,000 things. He thought only of one: victory through precision. This is the spirit we must reclaim in our age of endless noise. To master the art of doing one thing with the devotion of 1,000 hearts. To train the spirit of focus is to forge mental steel through repetition, patience, and endurance. The mind, like a blade, dulls when neglected and sharpens only through deliberate friction. Each time you resist distraction, you strike the hammer of discipline against the iron of your will. Each time you bring your wandering mind back to purpose, you temper your spirit in the fires of persistence. The samurai would meditate for hours before battle, emptying his thoughts until his mind became as still as water. Because clarity, not chaos, wins wars. Today, we fight battles not with swords, but with attention, and only the focused will rise above the fog of confusion. Focus is not born in comfort. It is carved in discomfort. It is choosing to stay when your mind begs to flee, to continue when everything tempts you to quit. Through this struggle, you do not just gain concentration, you forge identity, transforming thought into power. When you awaken Kenshin no Seishin, the world itself begins to slow. You see what others miss. You hear what others overlook. Focus is not merely looking harder. It is seeing with the whole soul. The samurai trained to cut through illusions, and in the same way, you must cut through the illusions of modern distraction, social noise, fleeting pleasure, and endless comparison. Each time you return to your task, you reclaim your mind from the chaos of the world. True focus is freedom, the liberation from mental chains that keep others lost in mediocrity. The warrior's gaze is steady because his spirit is anchored in purpose. Let your actions flow from that same still center, where noise fades and clarity reigns. The spirit of focus is not something you chase, it is something you become, when your thoughts, emotions, and will align as one. When that moment comes, the ordinary mind transforms into the mind of mastery, silent, disciplined, and unstoppable. The heart of steel, Hagane no Kokoro, is the soul of unbreakable resolve, the core of a warrior who has learned to feel deeply yet never falter. In the philosophy of the samurai, the heart was not weak or emotional. It was forged like tempered iron, shaped by hardship, cooled by patience, and strengthened by pain. To live with a heart of steel is to remain steadfast when life tests your spirit with fire. It is to feel fear, doubt, and exhaustion, yet continue forward with unwavering grace. Steel is not born strong, it becomes strong through heat and pressure. So too, the human heart becomes powerful only through trials. Every betrayal, every failure, every disappointment, they are the flames that forge your resilience. The samurai did not seek an easy path, he sought a worthy one. For only in struggle does the heart reveal its strength. Hagane no Kokoro is not coldness, it is the warmth of purpose wrapped in the armor of control. To cultivate the heart of steel, one must learn to master emotion without suppressing it. The samurai understood that courage was not the absence of fear, but the command of it. In moments of chaos, he stood unmoved, his spirit rooted deeper than uncertainty. Your modern battles may not involve swords, yet they cut just as deep. Failure, loss, rejection, and the silent wars within the mind. When you endure these without breaking, you are tempering your spirit in the forge of life. The heart grows strong, not when protected, but when tested. To remain calm under pressure is not a natural gift. It is a disciplined response born from constant refinement. You must train yourself to face discomfort with composure, to hold your ground even when the world seems to crumble. This is the art of the samurai heart. Steady, compassionate, and indestructible. When the heart of steel awakens within you, life's blows no longer shatter your will, they only polish your strength. You begin to see that every challenge is a blacksmith's hammer striking your soul, shaping it, molding it, refining it into something greater. Pain no longer feels like punishment, but transformation. The warrior smiles in the face of adversity, not because he is fearless, but because he knows he cannot be destroyed. Every scar becomes a mark of honor, proof that you have endured what others could not. To live with Hagane no Kokoro is to embody stillness in chaos, compassion in conflict, and courage in uncertainty. It is the silent confidence that no matter what comes, you will not bend, you will not break, and you will never retreat. The world bows not to talent or luck. It bows to those whose hearts have been forged in fire and emerge shining like steel. The mirror of clarity, Shin no Meikyo, is the pure reflection of a mind free from distortion, the state where truth reveals itself without the fog of emotion, bias, or fear. In the ancient teachings of the samurai, clarity was the highest form of wisdom. For a warrior who cannot see clearly cannot strike true. The mirror was sacred, not for vanity, but for awareness. When the mind is clouded by anger, desire, or doubt, its reflection becomes blurred, and every decision to polish the mirror of clarity is to strip away illusion, to confront reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. A clear mind is calm yet alert, still yet sharp, detached yet deeply present. It sees both the world and the self without distortion. The samurai would meditate before battle, not to escape chaos, but to see through it. To act from stillness, not reaction. In that stillness, clarity becomes the blade that cuts through confusion, guiding every choice with precision and peace. To master the mirror of clarity, one must learn the art of internal stillness. It begins with self-awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts without drowning in them. The samurai called this mushin, no mind, a state where thought ceases to control and awareness becomes infinite. In this space, distractions fade, emotions lose their grip, and truth emerges like a reflection on calm water. When we become mushin, not only do we control most people act out of noise, reacting instead of responding, assuming instead of understanding. But clarity demands silence, patience, and presence. It is not about knowing more, but seeing more deeply. When your mind becomes clear, every problem simplifies, every challenge becomes a lesson, and every moment becomes a mirror teaching you who you truly are. The clearer your inner world, the sharper your outer actions. Like a blade free from rust, Your decisions cut clean, your focus becomes absolute, and your vision aligns perfectly with your purpose. When the mirror of clarity shines within you, life transforms from confusion into comprehension. You no longer chase answers, they arise naturally, reflected in your awareness. The samurai saw himself in the mirror before each battle, not to admire his armor, but to ensure his spirit was unclouded. He knew that victory begins in the mind long before the sword is drawn. You too must polish your mirror daily. Through meditation, reflection, and disciplined awareness, every moment of honesty with yourself wipes away another layer of fog. Eventually, what remains is pure truth, untamed, radiant, and fearless. The mirror of clarity reveals that life is not chaos, but reflection, not confusion, but perception. When you master it, you move through the world like still water, untouched by storms, undisturbed by noise, yet powerful enough to carve mountains. That is the power of Shin no Meikyo, the mind that sees clearly, acts wisely, and lives freely. The path of discipline, Renshu no Michi, is the sacred road every warrior must walk to master both mind and spirit. It is not a path paved with comfort or ease, but one forged through repetition, restraint, and relentless will. Discipline is the invisible armor that protects a samurai from chaos, the structure that turns effort into mastery. In the philosophy of Bushido, discipline was not punishment, it was devotion. The daily ritual of commitment to something greater than oneself. Every sunrise was a vow to sharpen skill, strengthen spirit, and refine purpose. To walk the path of discipline is to choose consistency over convenience, progress over pleasure, and growth over comfort. It is the bridge between intention and achievement. Many seek motivation, but the samurai understood that discipline endures when motivation fades. The fire of discipline burns silently, yet it forges results that echo through eternity. In this path, every repetition is a strike of the hammer, shaping the steel of your spirit. Discipline begins where feelings end. When the mind says stop, discipline whispers continue. It is the unseen force that carries warriors through exhaustion, doubt, and failure. The samurai trained even when there was no audience, because the true battle was not with others, but with the self. Renshu no Michi demands self-command, the ability to direct one's thoughts and actions despite emotion or circumstance. It is through discipline that chaos finds order, and willpower becomes unshakable. Each day of consistent practice strengthens your character as surely as each hammer strike hardens a blade. The disciplined soul does not chase perfection. It pursues progress, step by step, breath by breath. When you repeat a single act of excellence often enough, it transforms into instinct, effortless, precise, and powerful. Discipline is not a burden, but a liberation. Freedom from the weakness of inconsistency. It is the law of mastery, written into the spirit of every great warrior. Walking the path of discipline is a lifetime vow, an endless forging of the self. There will be days when the fire burns low, when fatigue dulls your resolve, when temptation whispers for rest. But it is precisely in those moments that discipline reveals its strength. The samurai did not train only for victory, but for endurance, to remain steadfast when the world wavered. In the same way, your discipline must be your compass when motivation deserts you. Each small act of persistence is a step deeper into mastery. The path is long, but it does not deceive. It rewards those who remain loyal to it. When you embrace Renshu no Michi, you no longer ask, "When will I succeed?" because you understand that success is already within the discipline itself. Every day of training, every moment of restraint, every choice to continue is proof that your spirit is alive and unyielding. And when that spirit matures, nothing, not time, not failure, not fear, can stop your ascent. The mind of emptiness. Mu no Kokoro is the purest state of awareness, where thought and action become one, and the spirit flows without resistance. In the philosophy of the samurai, Emptiness is not nothingness. It is everything. It is the quiet void from which clarity, instinct, and wisdom emerge. The warrior who attains Mu no Kokoro no longer fights against his thoughts or emotions. He moves with them, balanced and unbound. This is the mind that strikes without hesitation, decides without fear, and acts without ego. To the untrained, emptiness may seem like absence, but to the awakened, it is the source of infinite strength. The samurai sought this state through meditation and mindfulness, where the noise of the world dissolved, leaving only stillness, vast, calm, and powerful. Within that silence, intuition speaks louder than thought, and presence becomes absolute. In the battlefield of life, the mind of emptiness is the warrior's greatest weapon, a tranquil storm that cannot be shaken. To train Mu no Kokoro is to unlearn attachment, to free yourself from the grip of desire, anger, and doubt. The modern world glorifies overthinking, constant motion, and endless noise, but the samurai understood that mastery begins in stillness. When the mind is filled, it becomes heavy. When it is emptied, it moves freely. The empty mind does not resist what is. It adapts, flows, and transforms. In this state, you stop reacting and start responding, no longer bound by impulse or fear. Mu no Kokoro allows you to see every challenge with detachment and precision, to act without hesitation, because your actions arise from presence, not panic. To reach this level of awareness requires humility, the willingness to silence the self and listen to the moment. The more you empty your mind of ego, the more space you create for truth, insight, and mastery to enter. Emptiness, then, is not weakness, it is ultimate control. When you awaken the mind of emptiness, you begin to live with effortless focus and calm strength. Every moment becomes a reflection of harmony between body, mind, and spirit. The samurai who mastered Mu no Kokoro could fight without anger, lead without pride, and live without fear. You too can embody that spirit, not by escaping life's noise, but by learning to be still within it. Emptiness is not withdrawal, it is awareness expanded beyond distraction. It is the art of being fully alive in every breath, unmoved by chaos yet deeply connected to all things. When you live with an empty mind, time slows, clarity sharpens, and peace becomes unshakable. This is where thought transforms into instinct, effort turns into flow, and life itself becomes a form of meditation. The mind of emptiness is the final mastery, the still center of the storm, where nothing can disturb you, because you have become one with everything. That is the secret of Mu no Kokoro. Absolute presence, infinite strength, and eternal peace. Purity and integrity of thought. Sei to Ji form the moral foundation of the samurai mind. The inner compass that ensures strength is guided by virtue. In the ancient code of Bushido, wisdom without integrity was considered hollow, and power without purity was seen as corruption. A warrior's mind must not only be sharp, but also clean, untouched by deceit, greed, or arrogance. Sated Gi means living and thinking with honor, where every action arises from truth and every decision reflects inner balance. Purity of thought is not the absence of darkness, but the mastery of it, the ability to see temptation and remain unshaken. Integrity is the discipline to act rightly, even when no one is watching. Together, they form the soul of true intelligence, clarity guided by conscience. The samurai believed that a blade was only as strong as the spirit that wielded it, and the mind only as powerful as the purity that governs it. To think with purity is to act with peace, and to live with integrity is to leave behind a legacy of honor. The path to Seitugi is not an easy one. It demands self-examination, humility, and relentless honesty. Every day the warrior must polish his thoughts as he would polish his sword, removing the stains of anger, envy, and deceit. The modern mind is constantly clouded by falsehoods, external influence, and self-serving illusions, But when you commit to purity and integrity, you strip away these layers until only truth remains. It is not enough to appear righteous. You must be righteous, in thought as much as in action. Integrity is not proven in moments of glory, but in the quiet hours when no one sees your struggle. To betray your word is to fracture your own spirit. To live truthfully is to forge unbreakable alignment between heart, mind, and action. Seito-ji transforms intelligence into wisdom, intellect into virtue, and ambition into service. It purifies thought until it becomes as clear and sharp as a blade drawn for justice. When purity and integrity of thought take root in your spirit, your presence commands quiet respect. Your words gain power not through volume, but through truth. You no longer act to impress or dominate, but to uplift and honor. Every thought becomes a prayer of purpose. Every action a reflection of your inner virtue. The samurai walked with serenity because his mind was not divided. His will and his morals were one. When you live with Seito-ji, you move with certainty, for doubt cannot exist where truth resides. In this state you no longer need to prove your worth, for your integrity speaks louder than any declaration. Purity gives your mind strength, integrity gives it direction. Together they create a spirit that cannot be corrupted by fear or pride. This is the highest form of intelligence. Not brilliance of mind, but clarity of soul. To think with Seito-ji is to live with honor in every breath, to lead with wisdom, and to walk the path of truth, unbending and eternal. The path of the samurai mind is not one of perfection but of persistence, a lifelong forging of the self through focus, discipline, and truth. Each lesson, each trial, each breath becomes part of the great fire that tempers your spirit into steel. You have walked through the 6 pillars, the spirit of focus, the heart of steel, the mirror of clarity, the path of discipline, the mind of emptiness, and the purity and integrity of thought, each one a forge for your inner blade. Remember, intelligence is not a gift granted by birth, but a skill refined through conscious living and deliberate training. The world belongs not to those born gifted, but to those who train their minds to see clearly, think deeply, and act with purpose. Let your every thought become a stroke of mastery, your every challenge a chance to sharpen your resolve. You are no longer merely learning, you are forging. So rise, warrior of the mind, and carry this fire with you. Honor your path, train your spirit, and let your wisdom illuminate others. For in the silence of your discipline, the world will one day hear the thunder of your greatness.